And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a special podcast where I'm talking about trans issues again. You girls have been asking me to do this for a while. And today we have my friend Christopher Patterson, aka the host of the Men's Like Us podcast. And he will be joining us in a few. I just want to get on a little bit early just to talk to you all. It's been so long that I've been on my podcast not talking about gymnastics. I know about a month ago, I used my gymnastics platform and we did the Rainbow Roundtable. That will be a continuing segment on my show. So I'm always going to talk about trans issues. Also, I am trying to put together a trans inclusive podcast that has nothing to do with gymnastics. It's just, I know people keep asking me all the time, Michaela, do your podcast again. Michaela, do your podcast again. And even I go on to other people's who used to have podcasts and I'd be like, hey girl, do a podcast. Hey boy, do a podcast. Hey girl, do a podcast. And everybody is in the exact same mindset as me and like F these podcasts. Don't nobody got time for this. This is a lot of work for a little bit of energy and a little bit of payback. Don't nobody got time for this, girl. So I decided that if I want to see podcasts such as what I used to do, such as go name a couple of girls that I like and some men that I like, and they're still in the podcasting space. Clearly my good sister Niambi. I listen to her podcast all the time when she does it, but even Niambi doesn't do her podcast as frequently as she used to do it. When Miko Hits decides to get on Facebook and turn on her Facebook channel, I listen to her still. Again, she doesn't do it as often as she used to do it, but it is. I wish my good sister Pocahontas from Dallas, Texas, trans. Oh gosh, what was it called? Trans. I don't remember. I want to say Translash, but I know that's not what it was called. But I hope Polka one day brings that podcast back. I hope Ashley Breathe and Fox decides to bring back Tea Time with the Girls. It was a pinnacle in this community, and we absolutely need those podcasts again. I hope my friend Christopher Patterson bring back the Men Like Us podcast on a consistent basis, and we get to talk about these issues. But I think what he has decided to do, and when he gets on, we could talk to him about it, is he does the Men Like Us podcast still, but in a smaller, separate group that is centered around men and their issues. Because even my husband, James Speed, who has a podcast on YouTube, who you should listen to, his YouTube channel is James Speed. One of the things that in 2024 going into 2025, I want to see an end of the division between trans women and trans men or whatever. And whatever we got to do to get to the ending of this divide, we need to do it, because there can be no community if every member of the community don't see it for each other. Like, we can't sit up here and be like, why does this happen to us? Where is the community when the people who are actively in the community get shitted on in the community? We need to join together in these spaces. We need to come as unified voices, because if we don't want what happened in 2024 or 2016 to happen again, there are certain lessons that need to be learned. And I don't feel like the community at all is learning these lessons. We're sitting up here attacking each other. We're sitting up here still reading each other, calling each other Brits, telling these men who actively date trans women that they ain't shit, that they are dirty, that they are less than men because they like trans women. No, what we as the trans girl, we like the dirty piece of trade that's gonna sleep with us at night and go home to his wife and kids. And that's the real man that we. It's just a lot of stuff that's been going on, and I'm talking about since the election. You know, there has been a lot going on. And me and Christopher is going to talk about it. He asked to do this podcast because there was a TikTok that I saw that I responded to that I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play it from my phone, I'm not gonna put it on here because I'm also streaming from YouTube, and YouTube don't play that shit. So I'm gonna play the TikTok that initiated this conversation. If I can find her. So give me 1 second, people. Okay. No. Here we go. The initial TikTok that caused this conversation, and we're gonna expand on everything, was I kept seeing a lot of my trans sisters complain, be upset, be confused because in 2024 they tried to give trans men a shot or whatever. They went into it wholeheartedly saying, I'm going to leave cisgender men alone and I'm going to date trans men. But those trans men relationship and these trans women relationships have not been working out the way they thought. So actually, towards the end of the year, the girls are like, these trans men are worse than damn cisgender men. These trans men play so many games or whatever. And this is just my brief synopsis of why. I'm at work and I said I was gonna make some gymnastics content, but I have no inspiration. I've been sitting up here for like the last hour and a half at work. I had some downtime trying to take a nap and trying to make some gymnastics content. It's just I absolutely have not a inch of inspiration right now. I have to do that shit when I get home. So I came up here with this message. And this is gonna be a little bit controversial. So true to where I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just speaking my opinion. I think a lot in the trans community, I'm talking about trans men and trans women and gender non-conforming, and a lot of people in the trans community date other trans people, meaning trans women date trans men and trans men dating trans women, not because they are genuinely attracted to the trans person. They've been programmed that, okay, they're not supposed to reject another trans person because they know how rejection feels to them, and they don't like it, so they don't want to put that pain upon another trans person. But B, it's a trauma bonding. They're trauma bonded together, right? They both have trauma behind being trans, and they both can relate to it. So they interpret, in my opinion, this is my opinion, they misinterpret or misconstrue what they're actually. So, what I was saying, is that I feel like in 2024, what happened is a lot of trans women and trans men experienced trauma with dating their cisgender counterparts, right? So in 2024, somebody came up with the bright idea that the trans women and the trans men should start entering into fellowships and relationships with each other, correct? But what happened was it was very cute in January, it was very cute in February, it was very cute in March and April. Then came May, June, and July. And then everybody was like, is this really what it's gonna be? Is this really what it's gonna be? A lot of the trans men, and no tea, no shade, start telling the trans women, baby, you ain't trans because you want to use that thing on me, and I'm a real man, and ain't nobody for to put nothing inside of me, and you got to sit there and get dealt with the struggle. Even T.S. Madison went through this. And I think Christopher, yes.
No.
Hey, friend, how you doing?
Hey, what's good? Just had to rush myself home, try to squeeze in some gym time before we did this thing. So I apologize for coming on late.
It's okay.
Trying to get that work in. But yeah, I was catching what you was laying down, you know. It's definitely interesting. Oh, can you make the live public so I can share it?
Oh shit, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I always forget to do this with Facebook because Facebook always turn my lives private. Hold on, everybody. I'm so sorry, everybody.
I'm sorry to bring that conversation to a grinding halt. It sounded like it
was no. You're good.
Definitely some hot shit.
So, okay, I made it public. I'm so sorry, everybody. If I ever do that and I don't make it public, just remind me because I really don't go live on YouTube. I'm Facebook anymore, so I forget. So just let me know and I'll make it public so we can share it and stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to get the word out.
Yes. So I feel like when the trans men start telling the trans women, you is not for to use your thing on me. You was supposed to be a woman, and I don't respect y'all as women because now y'all want to use y'all things on us or whatever. That's when I feel like the damn conversation with the great trans men is the savior changed because the trans women was like, but what are we supposed to do? I don't want to get you ain't gonna use a strap on me. And T.S. Madison went through this herself, telling the trans man, you're not gonna use a strap on me. We both have body parts that absolutely work. Let's just use the damn real body parts that we have or whatever. And the trans man started calling the trans girls all kind of niggas and all kind of misgendering and so on and so forth. And now coming towards the end of the year, I'm starting to see my sisters like, trans men aren't the answer. Trans men are worse than cisgender men because they want to uphold the patriarchy and this, that, and the third. And my just thought process is, I feel like a lot of trans men and trans women should be brother and sisters. I don't feel like they should be dating. I feel like this is a egregious mistake that the community has made in order to uphold this damn liberalism, this we all are together. There should be no boxes, there should be no places, and it's just never gonna work out. Like, I'm sorry, as a community, we need to come to some kind of great consensus of not even what is acceptable and what is not. It's just what I would allow and what I'm not. It's okay for you to have a preference being a trans woman. It's okay for you to be a trans woman or you to be a trans man and not be trans attracted. I think the majority of us aren't trans attractive and we're trans. And these whole trans on trans women and trans men relationship, it's not helping the community. Now, there are people who are absolutely generally trans attractive and are perfectly happy being a trans woman dating a trans man, being a trans man dating a trans woman. But I also think that it's few and far in between Your sexual preferences are a thing that should not be ignored. If you are a trans woman and you would not date a biological woman because she has a vagina, why would you date a trans man? Because he also has a vagina. If you are attracted to vaginas, why are you dating a person with a vagina? And it is one of these things that trans people do that is absolutely selfish and disgusting, because you would sit there and shit on a group of men who openly date trans women, who openly acknowledge their attraction to trans women, but these trans men who are stealth, who half the time the world doesn't even know they're trans, treat you like shit and you sit up there and take it, girl. And it's just starting to bother me, because if you heard, one of the things I want to get to in 2024 is I want us to stop being victims in 2024 as the community. Trans men, trans women, men who date trans women, women who date trans women, women who date trans men. In this community, we all uphold this victimhood mentality of it's everybody else's fault and nothing I do play a part in the grander issues of all the bullshit. And we all have to realize that Donald Trump was reelected. We could say it was racism, we could say it was bigotry. It was a direct backlash to all of the rights that trans people has gotten over the last 8 years. This is why this man is in office again. And if we don't come to some kind of bigger understanding and have better conversations, we are going to keep getting the shit end of the stick. Friend, as a man who dates trans women, when you hear the girls, especially over this past year, talk about how much better trans men are, how does that make you feel? Because I know you don't have an issue with trans men, but you just it has to be. If you don't like biological women because of the vagina factor, why would you date a trans man? They still have a vagina. Like,
so what I often find is there are individuals, and this, extends beyond transness, but, people try to find solutions outside of themselves. So, I've heard it really sounds very similar to the divester, mindset. Well, these black men don't know how to treat black women. It's a problem. I'm going to go date white men. But usually the people that say that have no experience with that particular demographic at all. I have no idea. Like they glamorize it. And a lot of times it comes from a space of ignorance and self-hate. And, when you're like, oh, well, no, trans men are that's the solution. Not understanding that trans men are men just like cis men. And then once you actually get that experience under your belt, well, they just like the other niggas. Well, yeah, because they're men. And we have a lot of this. They're going to bring over the same toxic patriarchy, all that stuff. They're going to have that too.
And I just got to respond to this one comment from my good friend Barbie. I'm not saying that because a trans man would date a trans woman with a penis, he should automatically date a cisgender man with a penis. What I am saying is, if you're not attracted to penis, regardless of whose body is on, it's not going to work. You can see it for that person as a woman for all you want to. And we as this community we have to call a thing. And it's just a thing, right? You can be all in love with a person as much as you want. When that person gets naked, if you're not attracted to that naked person's body, that relationship is never going to work. And we are being misguided trying to skew people into this direction when that's not their attraction in the first place, right? And I get it. It's not your love for somebody should not just come down to their genitalia, but we all are human beings, and human beings have attractions, right? And if your attraction is not to a certain thing, just because a person is a trans man, they still have that thing. you're not attracted to it, it's never going to work out. And you're both playing with each other's faces and playing with each other's emotions, trying to make something work out that's never going to be. Why not just, it's just like this. We're going to talk about this too. Because another thing that I've been seeing going on is a lot of sex workers who are in the dating pool, but then want to treat the men that they date the same way they treat the men that they are in clientele with. And you can't do that. You just can't do that. I'm not telling the girls don't do sex work, because in 2024, do whatever the hell you want. But I will say, if you are going to put yourself in sex work, you need to take yourself out of the dating pool. You are not helping this community by being in the dating pool, actively doing sex work, because you are treating these men like clientele. And now these men are treating other girls like client, because now this is how y'all date. Y'all date in clientele ways. Like, y'all don't court. Y'all fucking set up hookups that are financial exchanges for. Like, and we just need to call a thing a thing.
I wanted to acknowledge Barbie's comment very quickly, because Barbie says, I think relationships require more than sexual attraction. And that is completely true. Completely true. But sex, well, I don't call it sexual attraction. I call it sexual compatibility. You have to be sexually compatible. So if that person doesn't have the genitalia that you prefer, or they don't like using it in a way that you would like for it to be used, or whatever, like if y'all are not driving on that kind of stuff, then you're not sexually compatible. So it's necessary, but it's not the whole picture. But without that one little thing, you don't have the full 100%. It's not the whole of it. That sexual compatibility could be 25%, but once you lose 25%, now you don't have 100. And that sexual compatibility is a big thing. Like, this is the person that you have chosen to lay down with for the rest of your life. If you're not attracted to that person's genitalia, why are y'all messing with each other's feelings? Why are y'all playing like I don't feel like it's conflating. I feel like people are being selfish. People are saying, you know what? True.
This don't work for me. So now, because I'm in this new era of life, I'm going to be open to everything. And even though I'm not sexually attracted to it, they're going to conform and do what the hell I want in order for this relationship to work. And it doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to make it work like that because they want it to work like that. But if you're not compatible, and guess what else, Barbie? These trans men are telling y'all, I'm not saying you, Barbie, I'm so sorry. I'm just saying in general. These trans men are saying, y'all are men because y'all keep wanting to put y'all dicks inside of our pussies. So fuck y'all and y'all dirty ass damn trannies. We are going back to damn cisgender women because y'all have the mindset of men. And if you don't believe me, go to T.S. Madison page and go back and listen to her story of when she was dating the damn trans man, and the trans man was calling her all kind of men because she wanted to. The trans man had a vagina, she had a penis. Why do we need to use dildos and stuff? We have the parts to make it work.
Yep. I don't think you need to go listen to T.S. Madison to really believe it. Self-hate in this space is very real and very easy to understand, and it's just everywhere. Like, it's not a leap to find, to believe that, you know, somebody is has issues with self-love or accepting themselves fully. What I found interesting with all this and kind of blew my mind is that, you know, the girls have a hard enough time, you know, with self-love, accepting themselves fully, all that kind of stuff. And then you got somebody from their own community pushing that on them inside the confines of a safe space like a relationship. And I really feel for the girls that have gone through that. I really hope that hasn't changed their minds and that hasn't affected them or puts an extra insecurity or something else on their minds to really mess them up. That's very awful and toxic of them to do that. And Barbie, you are correct. A lot of these conversations obviously should be had, before relationships. But something else you talked about was entering a relationship based on experiments or research.
Yep.
Who that happens. And
that happens a lot, sister. Like a lot of people, and I'm just, and these are just people I follow on TikTok, right? I've never been with a trans man. I've been married to James for like almost 7 years now. We are almost a decade into this motherfucker, but it just feels like to me these are the things that lead to us being misguided, our attentions being put in the wrong spaces, while the Republicans, hell, and the Democrats too are making all these laws against us and taking away our rights. And we're up here still stuck on these minuscule conversations. I'm for the why y'all mad at that one? Why y'all mad at that? Y'all should definitely be mad at this one. Because the next part of the conversation I want to bring up is Zaya Wade and Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. Because community, we need to have a serious talk about this. We need to have a serious. Now, let me say this. Am I saying Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade are doing anything wrong as parents when it comes to Zaya Wade? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I wish I had parents who loved me and supported me the way that they love and support Zaya Wade. Hard stop. Hard stop. The other side of the coin, though, is the Republicans, the black community, the black church are using this, Zaya Wade, as the example of their transitioning children. Look at the way they're demonizing the people, children. And you could be like, fuck that, they're ignorant or whatever, but guess what? They're more of them than there are of us. So we have the unfortunate battle of convincing them because they are the ones in power, they are the ones in control. And if they keep telling us that we are being demonic with this whole Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union thing, and if this is their big issue of why they voted for Donald Trump, because we are transitioning kids, we are making kids have surgery, we need to have a conversation, and it's going to be a hard conversation because off rip, we don't agree with what we have to do. But I just think it would be in the best benefit of us as a community if we ask Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade to kind of stop putting Zaya Wade into the forefront until she turns 18 and can defend herself as an adult, because we put ourselves in a corner that I don't know how to get us out of. Like every time they post a picture of Gabrielle Union and Zaya or Dwayne Wade and Zaya, I see how the black community reacts. And again, y'all can sit up there and say they're dumb, they're ignorant. There's more of them than us, and then they vote. And you can say it's black men, but no, what I'm seeing is black women saying this is demonic. What I'm seeing is black women saying this is evil. What I'm saying is black women saying that they're trying to get Zaya Wade to replace them. What I'm saying, so am I wrong for feeling this way, Chris? Am I wrong for feeling like I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying I just wish it wasn't so public.
I think that Zaya Wade is definitely more in the black circle, more in the black realm, because I think there's a lot of white people that never even heard of Zaya Wade. I'm sorry, white people that never heard of Zaya Wade. Mm-hmm. And I honestly, it's sad, but as a minority community, the most egregious, not egregious, the most extreme versions of or members of your representatives of the community are the ones that are representative of the whole. And I mean, just like with black men, the thug, all that stuff, like these gangbangers, that's representative of the whole to a lot of white America. If you look at voting maps, you will see a sea of red and then blue dots all over the map because those are the cities. but you know, most of America is Trump country, and they have no interaction with Black people. They have no interaction with trans people. They have no. All they know is the most extreme versions that they see on Fox News or ABC News or whatever news. Like the people that get the cameras, that get all the attention, they're dictating the narrative. And Zaya Wade would be dictating the narrative if Zaya Wade was
an adult.
Well, no, if she was like a one of those like I'm sorry, forget the campy drag queens. Like if it was like super extreme and just
like I got a great example of what you're talking about. Yeah. Like Dylan Mulvaney. How like Dylan Mulvaney is getting all of this stuff, and she is very like one of these campy, cool trans women.
The rules are different. The rules are different on the white side.
The rules are different, but I'm saying, is that what you're talking about? Like, it's just so hard because I hear I'm looking at the comment. I'm not ignoring the comments, especially what you're saying, Barbie. Representation is absolutely important. That's why I'm trying to frame this conversation by saying what Zaya, Dwayne, and Gabrielle Union are doing. There is nothing wrong with it. I have to keep making sure I vocalize there is nothing wrong with what they're doing. But what I am saying is, though, we also have to recognize the community backlash to what they're doing, right? And it's a thing, and it's an ignorant thing, it's a bigoted thing, it's a homophobic thing, it's a hateful thing, but it's a thing. And if we want to get the people that we want to empower, we have to acknowledge this thing and find some way to use it to our benefit, right? And one of the things with Zaya is people give Zaya a lot of criticism, but they don't give the same criticism to EJ. True. They don't give the same criticism to other people, right? And I think, again, Zaya just represents to the Black community, to the Black church, all the demonic things when it comes to trans people. They're transitioning children. They're putting them out there. One day they want to dress like a boy. One day they want to dress like a girl. It's very confusing. Why Zaya's biological mother don't have an opinion in this situation? Like all of the things that we as the community look at as strong and powerful and uplifting, and you better work Dwayne Wade. Like fuck that damn fuck her mama, bitch. If her mama don't want to be a part of her life, fuck her. Let you and Gabrielle Union sit up there and build that girl up, and so on and so forth. That's how we look at it, and that's, in my opinion, I have to put this out there, it's the correct way of viewing it. That is not how the Black community look at that situation.
Well, I could say like this. I guess it's my opinion as well. The Black community has always been slow to change. They've always been rooted, and we've always been very difficult to move in terms of our value systems and the traditions there within, which is why the Black church is dying out, because millennials, Gen Z, they're not going to church. Like we're done with it. We're done with all the fake stuff. But
they're not going to church, but they're still upholding those same traditions in the modern. Like even though they're not going to a traditional church house, they're still, you're going to hell for being gay. They're still they can bust it open in the club themselves. They can lick all the pussy in the world, but the moment they find out somebody gay, you're going to hell for being gay. I ain't fucking with you. The damn sister and the women finna out the damn man when he find out the man like the trans woman. It's like they still uphold these. And the thing that I had to realize is the Black community is just conservative. And I feel like even us even trying to change their minds is us wasting our time, because it's a long stronghold of conservative movement in the Black household.
But I think the issue, I think one of the main things that makes that possible is the anti-intellectualism that has a stranglehold in our community. And I witnessed this. My pastor, he had preached at some women's conference, and he had a whole message because his granddaughter was like, "Oh, well, I don't know what gender that character is just yet, because that it could be a he, it could be a her, it could be a them. Like, gotta wait and see." And he took that as, "Oh no, my grandchild is confused. The kids are confused." And I'm like, no, that's progress. The child is waiting for that other person to let them know, hey, this is who and what I am, instead of, no, the Bible, this and that, and God. And he had this whole message about God is a God of order and God is simple. And I'm like, anybody with really anybody with a high school education should know that that's not true, given the diversity of our ecosystem in this world and beyond that. But it's just like they're resistant to change, and we just gotta let them age out. But this fight against intellectualism and learning and education and knowledge is really what's killing us as a community. And trust me, I see it every time I go to the barbershop. What you talked about, people, oh, you going to hell? Sir, you have 5 babies with 5 baby mamas. Who's the bigger drag on our community? Who's harming our community more? Somebody who's living in their truth, or you? Like, come on. But we as American Christians, we pick and choose what sins we villainize, and we have a tier system, even though the Bible says all sin is the same. We have a tier system. No, that's more sinful than this. I'm gonna terrorize people for doing this and not this. And it's really wild. It is really something else. But we're stuck because nobody wants to learn anything new. Everybody just wants to stick with a very basic understanding of things, even if it's incorrect.
But the hard part about the word stuck, and I see everybody is like the Black community is stuck. Mm-hmm. Those are our leaders. Those are the people. Those are the people, like, they sit up there and they talk all this shit about trans people all this time. Then they turn Democrat. Then they start saying the stuff that we want, and y'all sit up there and believe it. But they don't have many years, Joy Reid, of being anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ. But now that they get these damn liberal and democratic platforms, then they start saying all the things that we want to hear, and then we act like the things that they said, we give them grace. They change, they evolve. No, bitch, you've been saying all of that for the last 30 years of your life. You expect me to believe in the last 4 years your heart and mind has changed? No, I don't buy it. And I think that's one of the things with the Black community. That's why I'm trying to have this conversation, because these people are the leaders. These people are the people that are our elected officials. Mm-hmm. And they come into the place with this deep-rooted, systematic hatred in their bone marrow for us. How can we ever expect to get betterment in the community? And somebody put in the comment section, they feel like the trans movement over the last, I don't know who put it, I'm looking for the comment, was more harmful to the community than it was helpful. I really would like you to expand on that. So sorry, I missed the comment.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it in some ways. I understand the thought process. I see where some people are coming from. Basically, y'all tried to move too fast, too quick. I made a lot of people uncomfortable pushing certain narratives and not being comfortable, like, picking and choosing your battles. Now, this isn't my thought process, but I've heard this from some people I've been around.
I've heard
who are more conservative in their thinking, and they're like, this is too much. Let's just stick with just this.
I've even heard this thought process from a lot of gay Black men, especially after the election. And their thing was just, we've been pushing too much on the straight people when it comes to the community as a whole. And
that's some BS.
It is some BS. It is coddling the Black community. But again, I have to go back to where my initial thought process was. This is where they're at, though. It's not coddling. This is literally where the Black community is at. Like, we want them to be in a more evolved space, but they're not.
No, I think it would be unreasonable to expect that of a lot of people. I mean, I'm now that's just me, and where I stand on things personally. Y'all can rip me apart for this if you want to. I'm never shied away from being the villain. At this point, I'm just at least how I deal with it in my life. It is my bare minimum is just basic human decency, respect. You don't got to be all up in somebody's face,
And
but
Barbie,
what you're not going to do is be disrespectful.
that's it.
Treat everybody with basic human dignity. You don't got to be everybody's friend. You don't have to agree with everything, but your disagreement is not going to lead you to disrespect
No.
anybody in this community, at least not while I'm around and I have something to say about it. And as a man who dates trans women, that is my bar. So my family, friends, anybody I bring, any of my exes around or any of my new girlfriends around, whatever, like, okay, but they're with me and you're going to show them respect. You don't have to be rah-rah LGBT. You don't have to wear the pink and the blue shirt and all that junk. You cannot agree with it. That's cool. And I understand that, but we don't have to focus on that. We can talk about other things. We can be civil, all that stuff. Like, it don't have to be all that junk.
And I just want to respond to Barbie. You know I love you, girl, and I love that you are so passionate in these comments. Keep saying it, talking your shit, girl. I love it. I love it. I don't ever want you to think I'm offended by what you're saying because these are just grown people conversations, and I love it. I just have counterpoint to. It sounds like we're sympathizers to our abusers. It's not that. It's I want justice for what's happening to us, and the things that we have been doing to try to get justice have not been working. Especially over the if you all feel like the things that we've been doing have worked, why is Donald Trump is in office right now? Why do so many black cisgender women still want to call us trannies? Why do so many black cisgender women don't even want to be referred to as cisgender? And you know what, Barbie? Why you on it? I'm gonna take it one step further now. It's our fault as the community. We allowed this to happen for many decades and years. We look at some of our black queer celebrities, how much they damn bow down, fold to. Not all of them, but a lot of the black queer celebrities let these straight people say, do, put them in movies, treat them any kind of way, just to say they are a part of this thing. And that has always been the case for decades. And look at Luther Vandross. We all know Luther Vandross was gay. This man had to stay in the closet till the day that he died. And instead of fighting for the community, fighting for the next generation, so they would, he sat up there and folded. And so many of our older queer people have sat up there and folded to it, that this is why they believe these things. Look how many black gays are in the church, and none of them try to correct. They just be like, "That's right, pastor preaching. Let me sing my song," and then go to the bookstore and suck dick, and hope I don't catch the AIDS because I'm not going to take medication. And it's just that it's. I hear what you're saying. I hear what we all are saying, and I agree. I would just want y'all to understand from my heart that I agree with what y'all are saying, especially you, Barbie, in the comments. It's more of them than us, and we now have to shift the concern to not supporting our abusers, but getting the people that we need to get into power so we can get the shit that we need to get. And right now, the group of people that we have in power, that ain't it. That is not it.
No. I to Barbie's comment about why Donald Trump is in office. I really do think the move, and I will say black women were good at this, but they're always good at this, when it comes to holding black men accountable. But I really do think that it is time to hold members of our own communities accountable for, their support of Donald Trump. And in my men's group, I kicked everybody who was a Trump supporter. I kicked them out, banned them, blocked them, banned them. They're out the group. They can never come back in. We ain't doing that. I create no space for Trump supporters in my little corner of the trans attracted men's community. But I can say that there were quite a few men in the group that, you know, were very frustrated at a lot of trans women that they knew, would even call friends, that were heavy supporters of Donald Trump.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, these are the people who are doing this. I'm sorry, there are quite a few girls online who are public about it. I mean, I've even seen the hashtag trannies for Trump. Like, it's a real thing. I've had to block quite a few accounts, and I'm like, oh, no, get out of here. Block, 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 block. And it's just like, yo, we need to hold all these people accountable and make it clear under no uncertain terms that this is not okay over here. And if this is what you are about, you can go over there and play by yourself. You're not going to be a part of this community. You're not in. You're out there in the cold. You've been banished from the tribe. I really think, you know, if a lot of different groups set that kind of tone, even with black men or black women, I mean, there was like 8% of them that voted that way. Let's go. Yeah, you're right. They're imbeciles. But I really do think accountability within our communities, accountability with politicians, you know,
for an example,
community is very well organized.
It's absolutely, and again, Barbie, I love you. You're the main one commenting. That's why I'm specifically targeting you out. I'm not just trying to pick on you, Fred. It's just you're the main one who's commenting. So forgive me. I'm so sorry. Again, it's not that I want to sit up here and talk about Donald Trump white ass. It's the fact that y'all made it impossible not to do it. It's the black community as a whole. I really wish but see, I can't even say the black queer community, because a lot of their asses was Trump supporters too, because they felt like Trump was going to give away stimulus packages or whatever, and that was the only thing they were concerned about was getting another stimulus package. For the people who and again, it's hard because all of this goes back to the ignorance of the black community, that we have to sit up here and try to figure out how to maneuver in this space. Because going back to Zaya Wade, going back to this, yes, I know the number saying that like 92% of black women voted for Trump, and like what it was 70-something, 80-something% of black men voted for Trump, right? But those are the ones.
Kamala.
I mean, voted for Kamala. I'm so sorry. But those are the ones who actually voted, right? I'm waiting for the records to see how many black people sat this election out because they didn't want to choose either one.
Ooh. Well, overall, Americans, it was, I think the total of people who voted was like, I don't know. I think it was like 160 million, which is, you know, roughly about half. I mean, for what the last time Trump won in 2016, 49% of the American population didn't vote. And whenever there's low voter turnout, he's going to win. And that's sad.
And Barbie, I wish I could sit up there and be like, I don't give a fuck about what these people who voted for Trump, but that's the community that I have. So I have to try to figure out how to navigate this community, which is the black community. And if I want betterment for black people as a whole, trans, cis, indifferent, baby mamas, whatever, these are hard conversations that need to be had, because they keep fucking up the thing. Every time I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a black woman. What do you mean black people are? Then black people are like, she's not even black. And I'm like,
and she married to a white man.
And then they hit us.
People saying, I ain't got a problem with that. I voted for her.
And then they hit us with the, she don't even have kids. She's not even a real woman because she don't have kids. And then I'm just like,
Oh, that's dumb. Yeah.
And then I kept seeing, no tea, no shade, a lot of heavyset white people who claim to be trans kept trying to go into the women's bathroom. And then we, as the black trans women, kept being like, leave my sister alone. That's a woman. She just is the beginning of her transition. And that same person would have not even batted an eye for your black ass with y'all in this Captain Save a Whole. And that's another thing. Black people as a whole, we need to stop trying to be Captain Save a Whole to everybody and just focus on us in these next 4 years. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be hard. Black trans women, this is why I'm having this conversation, because I feel like as black trans women, we need to hold each other accountable. I don't want to see no spaces of trans men trying to hold black trans women accountable. Black trans men, you hold each other accountable. Why do y'all get to be out here and live stealth and not be affected by these trans issues while we're up here being affected and having laws passed about it? And then people don't even call y'all damn trans. They call y'all studs, and y'all sit up here and don't even question that shit.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
I feel like black men need to hold black men accountable. I feel like black women need to hold black women accountable. And I think this whole holding other groups accountable thing needs to end. We need to hold each person's particular group needs to hold that group accountable and not worry about the other groups.
I can get with that. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to go against that in what I'm about to say, I guess. Because, I really do. Well, I mean, since I work in the space or volunteer, I guess, whatever. I volunteer with I'm on the board of a trans nonprofit in Houston. And, the trans community has all of these organizations that are well funded, lots of money going around. And, we in Houston, we threw this, we poured a lot of money into it too. We threw this pool party, voter registration drive for the trans community, and like people just weren't really showing up. And it was just like, we got free food, free alcohol, we got a dope DJ, we got the pool, we got the whole space rented out, ain't nobody else mixing in. It's a safe space. We got security, the whole nine. And it just like, people weren't really serious about showing up. And even though we got a fair amount of people registered, it really could have been so much bigger. I just think like these organizations really need to kick it into overdrive in terms of getting people registered, getting people engaged. And like, we need to get ready for the next fight, which is the midterms. The midterms is the next fight. We got all these organizations that got all this money, and I get it. You are here for HIV prevention and X, Y, and Z. But during your HIV prevention event, you can have a politician come and speak. And we had politicians there. We had state representatives. We had a congressman come through. Like, we had people up in there. Hey, this is why it's important to vote, and y'all need to be this, this, and this. And it's just like, really, the machine needs to activate. And
fine, we could talk about.
I guess that's the real tea of the whole activism nonprofit. And Barbie, if you're a nonprofit, you know.
She absolutely is. And then I have another young lady named Jasmine McKenzie, who helped me out during the tornado. And the thing is, I want to really unpack this. Ooh. Why is it so hard for regular trans people to get help from these organizations, right? Like, these organizations get all of this funding to do all of this great work in these communities, and then they do all of this stuff, but then it feels like going back down to, this is again why I feel like Trump, because the community does not feel like the community is here for them. Like, so many people feel like, I thank God for the McKinsey Project, because they were the only organization that actually reached out and helped me during this damn tornado that happened in May. And I reached out to a lot of trans-led organizations, and they are the only ones that helped me out. And I literally was going through an emergency that I felt like I should be able to go to my community for help. Like, this is why y'all get these. This is why you have an organization to help the girls when they need help. Well, bitch, I need help. I got hit by a tornado. But I kept getting hit with oh, you're too old, or you don't have HIV, or and it's like, why is it that a lot of these community organizations is so focused on 16 to 21, or you have to have HIV. If you don't have HIV, then you're out. Like,
that's where a lot of the money, you know, in the grants that they write, a lot of the money that they get is specifically for this or for that. And it's sad, but like that's one of the ways to get grants easily is, oh yeah, we have HIV prevention and education, and we're going to do all this HIV focused stuff and health focused stuff because the pharmaceutical companies are throwing money out there, throwing it out there, and it's just like, but yeah, but I mean, for anybody who's not affected by this or to help somebody outside that, like, oh, we don't really have money for that. Like, we don't really care.
and then that's another thing that leads into the mistrust of the community, because we see that y'all get this money. We see y'all throw events. We see y'all have these parties. But when I need my rent, I need help with my rent, and I'm asking y'all for help for y'all's like, no. And it's like, okay, I feel like the government is scratching your back, but then I don't feel like you're turning around and scratching my back. So then why should I support you? And that's another thing that goes on with the damn Black queer community, is that it seems like these organizations are here for the fun. They're here to throw a party. But when a person really needs you, you're not there for them.
Can I whatever, because you know me, I'm about being a truth teller and saying stuff to get myself canceled and make people hate me. So I will say, when you get in the nonprofit game, especially in the trans space, and obviously beyond that, you'll see that with gays and whatever else as well. But you really, once you get into it, and if you're a smart person and you're observant, I just stopped and looked, and I'm like, okay, you have to figure out why this person is here, because a lot of people are in this game for themselves, and they just want to be popular. They just want to be that it person. They want to be the one they have main character syndrome. They want to be that person out front. It's not really about helping everybody. It's about me making money, getting some money off of this, and misdirecting funds over here, and me being that person. And that's right, I'm the activist. I'm going to speak at this event for some money. I want to speak at this event for some money. And I started this organization, but who's really getting helped by it? Nobody knows. And that's why we got, people catching charges now. And, that one person that called charges, everybody knows that ain't the only person that's going to go down. It's some other people out there doing similar things. I'm not saying everybody is about that. It's just when you get in and you look and you see certain people, I'm like, oh, they ain't here for themselves. They're not really here. They don't have a passion to help people. They just catching a check. So you got to suss out those ones, and the people that really be about the shits, them be the people that you don't really see publicized. They not on the front of no flyers. They not doing certain events, speaking engagements. All they're not out front. It be the people behind the scenes getting the work done. And trust me, with the organization I work with, I'm in the back getting the work done. That machine moves because of me, and it's just like, I don't know. It was kind of eye opening to see. Oh, it's some more well known people that's probably gonna go down, and people who's in that space, Sorry, I don't hold back. I don't keep the I don't keep the truth. Barbie, yes, you're right. I don't know the whole story, but what I do know as a 15-year journalist who, reports news on the regular for large credible organizations, what I do know is the Brooklyn DA is not stupid enough to put some stuff out there that he know he can't prove, or that he's not sure he can prove. Ain't nobody putting themselves out, especially a high profile. But now the DA in Tougaloo County, gonna be on some fuck shit, and they don't know what they're doing. Yeah, it's gonna be funny, but somebody in a high profile position like Brooklyn, D8. No, this is not. This is not rumor playing games. This is not. Oh well, I don't know. No, they would not put themselves out. They would not embarrass themselves in that office if they weren't sure. And yes, you're right. Time will reveal all. That's why we have the justice system and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I'm sure more will come out. But I'm just saying, like, there's more going on, and everybody knows there's more going on in different orgs and different things happening. And we're like, oh, this is just the first one. Well, it's just the first one.
And even with that situation, I do feel like that person is being used as a scapegoat right now because, like you're saying, I'm sure that happens a lot with a lot of these boards. And I just know that person has done a lot for the community too. And, you know, it's just so sad when you see somebody who has actively, you can actually see what they've done to help this community. And yet, and it happens so much with us as Black trans people that, again, I ask, who are we supposed to ally with? Who are we supposed to rely on? Like, Black cisgender women at this moment in time is telling us to we not y'all. They don't like us. Black cisgender men are still trying to be DL with us in a lot of ways. Black trans men are telling us that we are too masculine for them and they don't like us. It's just like, who are we supposed to ally with? Even damn other Black trans women are calling each other's bricks and tearing each other down and reading each other for blood over stupid shit. And it's just like, where is this great community that we're supposed to rely on? Where does this community exist at? Because I've never known it.
Yeah, Barbie is right. Yet again, you know, be careful who you sit and laugh with. That's for sure.
That is for sure. Definitely for sure, because I just feel so bad for that lady. I just feel so bad for her. Like, I know what she's accused of is absolutely horrible. It is horrible. And if she's found guilty of this, she deserves to get whatever they try to happen to her. I just think it is.
Well, I mean, unless they all of a sudden find records for the stuff that was alleged to happen actually happening, then, you know, it's a big old we'll see. It's a big old we'll see. But it's you know, I would just say, you know, when people are like, well, we don't know, and I'm like, dude, first off, like I said, Brooklyn DA not doing something high profile like this out of nowhere. Then also, when have you ever seen any community type stuff like this be reported by the New York Times? That's a high profile national journalistic organization. They're not doing community rumor. This ain't the Shade Room. This ain't all that. No, this is for real, for real. So I saw that. I was just like, yeah, it's something else. But I'm sorry. That was just a piece of the game. I'm just like, wow. It's folks that have been here that's really just here to glorify themselves, put themselves up because they need an ego boost or whatever, or they just trying to catch a check, and they're not really here for X, Y, and Z. And I'm just like, that's just me diving into it and just looking around at people and all these different organizations and being part of one that works with organizations, and I'm just peeping out the characters. And these are the conversations that people who are in these work in these organizations, these conversations they have all the time. It's just outside of it, nobody knows. Nobody's talking about it. So, I mean, maybe that's why they don't let, I don't know, maybe that's a new dynamic, because I'm not the only cis het trans attracted man working, you know, I'm sorry, on the board of a trans nonprofit in a major city. So, you know, Troy is on the, I'm sorry, that's not a trans nonprofit. He's on the, what was it? LGBT Detroit board, the biggest, the big queer organization up there. He working on that, and you know, it's definitely a different dynamic. But I'm sorry. I know I just sidelined our conversation.
No, you're good. You're good.
I really do think nonprofits galvanizing is really the solution to turning things around and actually using the power, whatever power the community can muster up together. Because obviously you are still a very small demographic. And if we're talking about Black, now you're dealing with like 0.2% instead of the 1% of the whole. Y'all are like a small little subset of a subset. So it's just like it's a lot.
It is a lot.
But I just think people need to as Black people, we are not a serious people, and people need to get real. I remember watching a Malcolm X speech, and he was like, "It's either going to be the ballot or the bullet. If we find out you didn't vote, we find out you didn't vote, guess what you getting? Like either you're with us to galvanize as a community and exercise political power and make things better for our people, or we're done with you." Now, obviously, we ain't shooting people, but he was very extreme about that. I'm sorry to sidetrack. I know we got other topics. Do we have anything else on the slate?
I got one more topic, and then
end
it. There's one more thing that's been going on social media. This is a more lighthearted because I know the first half of what I wanted to talk about was a little bit heavy. Hopefully, this is a little bit lighthearted. So there's a third thing that's been going on, two-part issue that's been going on since the election that's been really bothering me. It's been this conversation about disclosure and trans women. It was. I guess this is this real popular.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michaela. I just want to say this one because Barbara just added one thing.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, the situation we're talking about because I was talking with a friend about this, and this is really a really important piece of it. I promise you. So Barbie said there is always going to be some bad apples in the bunch. Unfortunately, this one situation will be the catalyst of judgment for us all. I completely believe that. I believe this one situation is going to greatly negatively affect the money that a lot of Black trans organizations are going to be able to get in the future. I think the donors are going to be looking a lot. They're going to be bigger skeptics, and getting that money won't be as easy as before. And I think it sucks because that really harms the whole. It makes it harder for people to get help, like you were talking about with like McKinsey Project and a lot of the other big ones that really do a lot of great work for people, feed people, clothe people, help them get the medications they need, pay for their whatever they need, and that is really the downfall of it all. And that's the true tragedy of it, is how much it's going to affect everyone across the board. People who have nothing to do with anything that happened. So absolutely. I do acknowledge that.
I absolutely agree. And it also sucks, before we move on, that a lot of the queer content creators are using this situation and including T.S. Madison in the situation to somehow make it seem like trans women are evil and trans women are just going to steal your money. And
what?
Yeah, it's just been because she and T.S. Madison. Well, I think T.S. Madison is still doing her starter house in Atlanta, where they had a house where they was going to house trans individuals that were homeless and get them education, very similar to what Pocahontas does in Houston with her House of Rebirth or whatever. I know T.S. Madison is still doing it. It's just, it sucks that Black queer men are using this situation to shit on Black trans women again. This is what, again, I'm saying. It's very hard to feel like there's a community when everybody in the Black community always shit on Black trans women. Everybody. It's almost like it's a necessary thing to shit on Black trans women to make yourself feel better. I don't know.
It's terrible. That's really how Trump won. The Republican Party used trans women as scapegoats. The Democratic Party said nothing about trans, wasn't really a part of their official platform. They ran no ads about it. They really made y'all the boogeymen and women of the new progressive wave. This is they're coming to ruin your kids. They all, I mean, and I'm talking Congress people, everybody on down, state representatives, everybody talked about trans, and they won an election on your backs.
Yeah.
That's really how it happened. They scared the populace and they won.
Absolutely.
Sadly.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Now, I apologize for holding up the program.
No, you're good.
But I also appreciate Barbie for dropping some.
Absolutely. That is absolutely fact.
Conversation.
And to the final part of the conversation is this disclosure thing. So it's this very popular TikTok creator. I think he's gay, but he might have been heterosexual. I don't know how the conversation started. If I'm just being honest. But all I know is somehow a group of Black female, biological female, cisgender women, Black content creators start making TikTok content begging trans women to disclose in order to keep them safe or whatever. And when the trans women were going back at these Black cisgender women and saying that, look, sister, I understand that you think you're trying to protect us in this moment, but you're being very transphobic because why do you assume that we're not disclosing? Why do you believe that these men will fuck a dog, will fuck your daughter, will fuck your son, will fuck your sister, will fuck your mama, will fuck everybody, hell, even will fuck your brother. But when it comes to a trans woman, that's the bridge too far. All of a sudden, he did not know. All of a sudden, he was tricked. If you can look at a trans girl and tell she's trans, why can't he? So it was back and forth. People, TikToks got banned. It was this big content creator. I think her name is Courtney J or something. She had over like 2 million followers. And her account got banned because she made a video saying that trans women need to disclose. Now, I will give her credit though. After she actually talked to some trans people and realized why what she said was transphobic, she did apologize. But a lot of Black female content creators are not apologizing. They're doubling and triple downing on, we are tricking men. We need to disclose to the men that we are trans and let these men get an option. And I just want to say to these women out there who believe this, these men seek full body sexual experiences with trans women. And when I say full body sexual experience, I literally mean full body sexual experiences. Go to Twitter and look up any trans porn star. I promise you, she is going to top most of the time because that's what these men come to fetishize. When these men are just fetishizing and being on the DL, what's the one thing that we have that y'all don't have? That's why they seek us out, because they have no understanding of who they are. So they just want a physical interaction. So for you all to believe that these men are somehow being tricked in 2024, it's just asinine to me, because how can the person be tricked when he had the girl dick in his mouth? Like what tricking will be? And I just really need for my sisters.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
No. I just need for my cisgender sisters to stop believing this whole "I didn't know" lie. Like, and I think if y'all would stop believing this whole "I didn't know" lie, all the other shit that y'all believe about the trans women would disappear, because that is the great lie that y'all have. Because for whatever reason, for y'all, for the cisgender women, he could be with a man. He could be with Jonathan Majors. He could go back and be with what's his wife or girlfriend's name?
Megan Good.
He could then be with Megan Good. And you're gonna be cool with that. Because you're gonna be like, oh, he just bisexual. It's okay. But let him be with T.S. Madison. Now you feel like, oh my God, he is the gayest man of all gay and gay. Ah! And sisters, y'all are being lied to. Y'all are being tricked. This is the work of the devil. This is why I want to have Chris on. because he's a man who dates trans women. He could tell y'all that they are lying to you when they say this. There's almost, are there rare cases where some girl is very passable and just suck the dick and trick the man? Sure, I give y'all that. I acknowledge that happens. It's rare, but it happens. But when the man be like he had sex with the girl and did not know, how then can you be like she tricked him? What do you think happened?
I slipped and fell, and I didn't mean to.
And then why do you all think that trans women need to disclose? Why do y'all think that's how we gonna fix this issue? Don't you know it's a whole website called blacktgirls.com where the girls be up there selling all kind of pussy and ass? It's called Black Tea Girls. They know. It's just
yeah.
So friend, from a male's perspective, why do you think a lot of the cishet women want to believe that these men do not know that we are trans?
Oh my gosh. Why do they not want what?
Why do they want to believe that these men do not know that
we Okay. I mean, insecurity plays a big part in this. I think the fear of being replaced, insecurity, homophobia, only because, let's be real, when people have an issue with this, they're not seeing that trans woman as a woman. They're like, ew, you've been with a man, you're not straight anymore. And, but I'm sorry. The one thing that sits on all of this is men are lying. Men are lying. They are lying. They all lie. They knew. And I will say, obviously, individuals who had sex with women, there's no way that they couldn't have known. There is no, but I didn't know. And we can come on now. I mean, more times than not, the man is lying. There are times where, hey, the guy didn't know she was trans before he got on the date because she looked great in her profile pictures. Heck, that happened to me.
I can acknowledge that can happen. But once sex happens, even oral sex.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
If you suck it, if you're a biological woman and you know you like to give head, and you know that man is touching your whole body while you're doing this, why do you still not believe that he does not?
Yeah, the I didn't know is that is the one lie that should never, that's the one lie that should not be valid moving into 2025. In 2025, we are no longer believing I didn't know. That is no longer a valid lie, excuse, whatever. You knew, you wanted it. But the other side of this is, I guess on some level, we have to deal with the reason why men lie, the reason why they're lying, what they're running away from. Men, run away from shame. Shame is something that we avoid feverishly. It's the, on one side, it's the reaction that cisgender women offer. All of a sudden you are no longer valid as a man. You are less of a man. You are not a valid option for me because you've done this in your past. So guess what? I'm not going to tell you about it. I'm going to lie about it. You're never going to know that I did this because you can't handle the truth. So I could be good in every other way for you, but because I did this, but previously, that's going to be a problem for you. And I say it's insecurity because it's, and this is with anybody. And this is something that a lot of people have when they're dealing with somebody who is actually who's actually living in a fluid sexuality, I guess, in a sense. But basically, they're looking like they're worried about, okay, well, that person's going to supplant me. Okay, I could lose my man to one of them. Oh, he thinks they're just as good as me, or now I may not be enough because he's always going to want that. And that's why I say it's insecurity, because it's not having the feeling that I am enough. You are enough. He likes you. You are enough. He is with you. He has made a choice to be with you. Why are you afraid somebody else is going to come in and take him from you? And if he does move on to somebody else, that's not a you thing. That has nothing to do with you.
And
everything to do with him.
Part B to that is, if let's say you are with a man and he does decide in the middle of y'all relationship that this isn't the relationship that he wants. He does want to be with trans women, and he does leave you and start dating trans women. Why do you take that as you should be happy? He was honest with you. He did not waste your time. He got out of the relationship. You did not spend your life with some man who was going to make you miserable. Like, I don't understand. Like, why do it feels like some cisgender women want to live in the lie. Like, they want the lie. They're more upset that you would not uphold the lie than they are that you living in your truth. A lot of these women feel like, bitch, I don't care that you fucking with the damn trainings. You just should never let me know.
Actually, I think the more, well, there's that too. A lot of people would just prefer for men to just stay in the closet, BDL, for their own comfort, of course. But I think the bigger thing is, I find myself in some female conversations. I'll sit and listen, and it's crazy to me that, like, and I'll just say black female conversations because I don't really sit around a lot of white female conversations. But it is really fascinating to me that the way when I listen to these women talk, they really do act like the worst thing that could ever happen to them is them finding out their man is gay. They would rather have a man who is not gay, not bisexual, not trans attracted. They would rather have a man who is brick and mortar straight that cheats on them, physically abuses them. They would rather have all that toxic stuff than have somebody who treats them right, who has a fluid sexuality. And like, it's the worst. Oh my God. Like they would go into they would have a whole mental breakdown that their man is bisexual or trans attracted. And, on some level, we have to acknowledge that we create our own misery. You're going through that because of you, not because of him, not because of who and what he is. It's because of you and how you see yourself and how you see other things. That's all inside of you.
And can I take it one step further?
Mm-hmm.
My cisgender women in 2024 moving into 2025, a lot of the reasons why you keep running into men that like trans women is because now in 2024, a lot of y'all cisgender women are walking around here with a trans aesthetic. You sit up here and look like the girls, but you have a vagina. So you're easy targets. You're easy targets to these men because you sit up there and create a situation where the men already know how to lie to you. You sit up there on these podcasts, you sit up here on these things. I don't want no gay man. A man can beat on me as long as he ain't gay. So when that man hears that, he gonna sit up there and tell you, fuck them poems. Man, that's a man. That's a nigga. And the whole time he gonna be sitting there to get his dick sucked. And you ain't never gonna know because you are setting yourself up for like it's so hard to explain this to cisgender women, but even if you don't want a bisexual or gay man, you can't be so public with your vitriol because now you're just teaching men how to lie to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's whenever I'm in certain spaces, I let them know, like, ladies, women, you are the problem. You need to understand you are the problem. You and how you see this, how you handle it, you are creating a problem. The way you weaponize the word gay, you are creating a problem. And that's like, okay, that's the worst thing in the world for you to have as a man who is fluid in his sexuality. All right. Well, for a lot of black men, it just meant, and men of other races as well, being called gay is something that they are deathly afraid of, that really triggers them. They don't want it because in our society, you are less of a man if you are gay.
Part B, just taking it out of an American. In countries, you would die for being gay. So calling somebody gay, you're wishing death on them. In a lot of ways, that's how some people view it.
It is, but in one thing that I've always, it did take long for me to see this. In the black community, we talk about, she need a good black man. You need to grow up to be a good black man. This, and this, a good black man, a good black man. One thing I've learned real quick is after, having certain battles with my own family, in our community, a good black man is a straight black man.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
If you are not that and the way that people define straightness, you are no longer in the good black man category. You've fallen into something else. Now you're cool, but you will never be a leader of our community.
Nope.
I don't want my children to aspire to be like you. In fact, I don't even want you working with my kids. Like, it's a lot that people put on that in the way that they see things. And so, I mean, when we know that's how our community responds to it, am I going to lie to avoid losing that social credibility? Absolutely. Now, that's not me personally, but are men going to do that, especially when they're not at a point where they're ready to commit fully to, being trans attracted and all that stuff? No, I'm going to just slide by. I'm not going to sacrifice my privilege. I am still going to sit here in my valid black male status. And yeah, it's really crazy. It's the word being called gay is not a bad thing, but the way that people weaponize it and use it in a negative way, it really, you're not helping. You're making things worse.
And we need to start really checking that. Like, you're just not going to call somebody gay as an insult in front of me. Like, okay, the person's gay, so what? Like, is that an insult?
Well, to Barbie's comment, because I get this sometimes.
I explain what the trans aesthetic is in the second Barbie West.
Okay. I'm sorry, the last one she dropped, she said in the white communities, they don't have these types of vile views of sexuality. Only have I ever noticed such simple-minded behavior in communities of color. I can agree with you that it is in my experience, from what I've seen. And, I have I spent a lot of time in white world. If you ever learned anything about my story, that was a, big part of it. But it is more common in in black and brown communities. Yeah. It is more common, but it is still there in the white communities. And, the men that I talk to and help out.
I would say it's more amplified because of marginalizedness.
It's our traditional. I'm sorry. It's how closely we tie our culture to religion. Correct. And in the white space, they have been able to separate in a way where there's a lot more secularized families and people who have a different, live and let live culture. They're not holding you to what pastor said.
Well, in the white, there's no real one religion per se, right? White people can be Jewish, white people can be Christian, white people can be Catholic, white people can be anything.
Yeah, but they all follow the Old Testament at the very least.
Yeah,
they run into the Leviticus.
But what I'm saying for the black community, it's almost expected for a black person to be Christian.
Oh, absolutely. Same with the Latins. They're heavily Catholic.
Correct.
Jews are one thing, and let's be real. White Christian nationalism is a really big deal. Those churches are packed full of people. Joel Osteen, they have full networks off of that.
And let's not act like the black Christian
is big.
The black Christian ideology is white Christianity.
Oh, it is. It is.
It's upholding whiteness. It's upholding white Jesus. It's upholding don't do nothing to make them white people mad. That's what black Christianity is.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But going back to another comment Barbie West said, what is the trans aesthetic?
Oh yeah. You do your thing.
If you look at the reality star Nene Leakes, that's all I'm gonna say. Nene Leakes done went and had a transition. Like, that lady looks like everybody trans woman that you know. Like, and it's the exaggerated features. I guess that's what the trans aesthetic is to me. Is the over exaggeration of certain feminine features. And
I hate to say it, but she looks fantastic.
I'm not saying she looks bad. I'm not saying the trans aesthetic looks bad. Yeah. But it's a thing.
Well, there are people that, oh my goodness, what has she done to herself? And I'm like, she looks really good. I'm not saying she was ugly before. I'm not saying that, but she looks really good. She looked
and
like
maybe that's
she looked like
maybe more merit to the trans aesthetic that you're talking about, because I don't know, but
she looked like she's getting ready to get on the cover of BlackTGirls.com at any moment in time.
Hilarious. Oh, sounds like it's time for me to renew my membership. No.
another person who has changed their looks to have a very strong trans aesthetic, in my opinion, is Tamar Braxton. And Tamar doesn't have like the over is like she doesn't have the big ass and the big titties, but her face, the sculptedness of her face, the way she did her nose job and her cheek implants and stuff, it gives that very transgender aesthetic.
I mean, it's let's be real. The plastic surgery industry perfected their craft on the community.
Correct.
At least that's my opinion. That's my belief.
No, I mean that's just facts. I mean, y'all can argue with your mama. Like all of these surgeries that these girls get started because these were gender affirming surgeries for us.
Mm-hmm. And they look fantastic. I think they look great. I don't have any issue with that. That's, you know what? That's one thing that that's a huge turn off, red flag. And the women who are watching this who do this, please stop. Like when there are women, I'm sorry, when men are around women in the community who have not had any level of plastic surgery at all. And that's great that you haven't had it and you're looking great and all that stuff. But the moment you turn around and start shitting on girls that have had surgery or try to elevate yourself as if you are better because you haven't had it, I'm looking at you weird, because I'm like, you only saying that because you ain't had it. You actually don't think that you, like, I'm not believing you that you think you are better, that you look better. Oh, yeah, I don't have that surgery. I'm all natural. I'm this and that. Okay. I'm sensing some hater in here, and it's not a good look at all. It's not a good look. And please stop it. Because men, like you talked about, like women teach men how to lie to them. Yo, you showing men your insecurities, and now they know how to play to them. And they gonna pick on them. And okay, well, I know she insecure about this, so yeah, baby, yeah. No, I hate that junk. Yeah, no, I love me a natural body woman. And then the next girl you're gonna get is super bimbo. I mean, shout out to all my bimbo girls over there. I like that look, but hey, that ain't for everybody.
Like, I don't know why you girls choose to do that, because always, they end up turning whatever you try to pick on that girl about against you. It reminds me of the final thing I want to talk about, then we can end. It was this girl on TikTok, a trans girl. She had a birthday party for her birthday, right? She's a pretty large TikToker or whatever, so she invited 100 of her followers or whatever, and they paid $100 to come to the birthday party. This one girl came up and misgendered her at her own birthday party, and the girl kicked her out the birthday party or whatever, right? So then it was a great TikTok conversation of, was the trans girl being mean for kicking the girl who misgendered her out of her own birthday party because it was an accident? And the girl did apologize. The cisgender woman did apologize, but still, it was her birthday party, bitch. Why are you misgendering her? So then there was this other trans girl, had lots of, very beautiful, got on TikTok and read that girl for filth, called her all kind of boys, said that, yeah, that's why she misgendered you, because you look like a boy. You need to get your titties done. You need to get your disc fixed. You need to do this, that, and third. And just like you was just saying how the girls who don't have surgeries need to leave the girls who do have surgeries alone, the girls with surgeries, don't let that fool you into believing you one of them too. Because y'all sit up there and get on to, and y'all high horses, because that girl had no reason to attack that other girl. That girl did nothing wrong. And then, but I said all this to say, because all the people that was big upping on her for picking on the little young trans girl started picking on her then because of her voice. And then for the next week after that, they started picking on her because of her voice. Till she had to disable her damn TikTok and all that other good shit. So all I'm saying is,
to the girls who also, going back to everything that we talked about, do you feel like it's okay to be on their side because you are passable or you are real or whatever the case may be? Trust and believe. They're going to turn on your ass too, bitch.
Ooh,
They're
yeah.
going to turn on your ass too. And when they turn on your ass, you the one who started it, bitch. Ain't nobody asked you to jump into this conversation. This ain't had nothing to do with you.
And be crying, be the loudest, crying and whining. Oh my God, the followers, they did this to me and they did that to me. When you was just shitting on somebody else that was vulnerable, and now you're the one that's being oppressed, and now it's a problem. Now it's a national emergency. Like what's her name? Nikita Dragon. One of those ones. But she was at a club, or she was at she was at a bar, club, whatever, day party in LA, and then she left with some guy, and went to get into the car with the guy, and somebody on security was like, hey man, we should let him know, and they let him know, and she didn't get, she got left, and she was like, oh my God, I got clocked and this and this, and they wouldn't let me in because I was trans, and he liked me before that, and now he doesn't. And I'm like, okay, like that is like, I understand how awful that is, but you had no sympathy for anybody else about their trans experience. Before that, you crapped on all these vulnerable people that needed support and help from somebody visible like yourself, but because they didn't look a certain way, fuck them. And it's just like, I have no sympathy for them kind of folks. Like I'm still waiting for what's her name, Blair White, to get her up and comings. It's a lot of them out there. It's so bad.
I will always remember this story. It happened to Claudette Glaze. She's big on Facebook. I don't know if she has other platforms, but she's big on Facebook. And a long time ago, she was going into a women's bathroom. And it was another trans girl who was trying to go into the bathroom, but the security at the mall she was at wouldn't let the other trans girl into the women's bathroom because she did not pass or whatever. And then Claudette went into the bathroom, used the bathroom or whatever, and was walking out. And then as she was walking out, the security guard asked Claudette, see, this is a real bitch right here. This is a real woman. She don't want to be in the bathroom with y'all bitches right there. And then Claudette used her platform and was like, baby, I don't care what bathroom she used because all she finna do is go in there and pee and come back. Like, you making this a whole big deal. You could be around here doing something else with your time, but you were around here focusing on this, baby, just trying to go to the bathroom or whatever. Because the man didn't know Claudette was trans. She used her privilege to help the trans girl out. I said all that to say, a lot of y'all bitches would not do that shit. A lot of y'all bitches would be like, oh, hell no, I want to use the bathroom. And then get on live and call the girl all kind of bricky and clocky and then tell her you're doing that because you're just trying to get her to improve her look. Nah, bitch, you's a bully. You's a mean-ass bully, bitch. And that's another thing that's going on in the community. That a lot of y'all are bullies as fuck because y'all have been bullied your whole life. And then you turn around and be a bully to the other people. And we're not doing that in 2025.
I will say the expectation. I'm sorry. There's a lot of men busting a lot of trans cheeks that ain't gonna say nothing in that situation. And they gonna see somebody, they gonna see one of the girls being oppressed and be silent. And like, oh no, I'm trans amorous, I'm this, I'm that. And then when it's your time to step up, dude, you just sit there and say nothing because you don't want to sacrifice your privilege. You don't, I don't want nobody around here to know. I don't want none of these niggas, think I'm gay or nothing like that. I'm gonna just sit and just peep game and just chill. And it's just like part of this whole thing. If you're really an ally, whatever you would, if you're really whatever the hell you say you are, sacrificing your privilege is part of the package, and you have to be that voice that speaks up in certain spaces. And it's a lot of these dudes that ain't doing that. They happy to enjoy the bodies of trans women, but they're not willing to stand up and address and call out things and protect. Really, it's really crazy. And the sad part is, I don't know. It's not everybody's gonna get there. That's been my experience. I'm falling into the Kendra G train where I'm just like, I started out hopeful.
Now I'm just like, some of these idiots ain't never gonna get it together. Some of these idiots is gonna be trapped in a certain arrested state of development and whatever. Y'all just go with the girls that's trapped in a certain level as well. Y'all be together, and all of us other people who want to grow and elevate and vibrate at a high frequency, we'll be over here. Y'all stay away from us.
It is girls in 2024 that still gets on platforms with gay men and straight women and be like, I am a woman. I want you to respect me as a woman. And then the host of the show would be like, but how do you feel about the men who sleep with you? Oh no, they gay. How are you saying you a woman and you want the world to look at you and you feel, but the man who sleep with you is gay, and you sit up there in these public platforms and say that shit, and then when people look at you in confusion, you don't have no answers to that confusion, but ask them. Nah, bitch, she asked you because how you gonna look at the men who fuck you as gay? What are you saying about yourself?
Yeah, it's I don't know. That's you for a lot of the men that decide to stick around and grow and try and do the work on themselves, interact with the community, learn more, engage with people. That's usually one of the first, like, okay, my brain just broke in that situation. Like, why do they do this? It's such a big contradiction. I don't get it. Why am I being villainized? What is happening? Like, that is usually one of the big frustrations up front. And I had to let people know, like, yo, oh, Barbie, dang, okay, now she being real now. It's Sabrina. I want to get to that later too, but Barbie being real now. But yeah, a lot of times I have to let people know, like, how people think and see things and how they see you has more to do with what's happening with them than anything you've actually done.
Yeah.
So let them deal with themselves. They have issues. You cannot fix their issues by trying to out-logic them in a debate. Let that go. Let them people be crazy and have whatever issues. Be around some folks that see things as they are. But Barbie, believe it or trust me, the men have peeped this. The men have peeped this. We know it's some whole ass butch queens out there with a pretty face, some big titties, and a big ass. And we know. We can tell the difference between the people who have made the transition up here and the ones who just got prettied up and they just there for the men. Well, we know we ain't stupid. And that is something that don't get talked about a lot. And we don't even talk about it publicly. Like, we keep that in the men's group. We have a whole acronym for it and everything. Because we're like, hey, y'all need to peep game. Like, some of these, just know, all that glitters ain't gold. That is a pretty beautiful woman right there. But mentally, that's a gay man. Like, mentally, that's just what it is.
Ooh. And that's very perfect.
But that's some of them. And we can see it. We all know who those people are. It's certain names that ring out. You're like, oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah, they're one of them. But it's that mental, if that mental ain't hitting, it's so apparent.
Oh,
I don't think people really understand how easy it is for people to see that.
It's this one girl. She has a large platform, so I'm not going to say her name. Mm-hmm. And I love her so much. I think she gives so much great wisdom, great pieces of advice to this community. But my God, does she say the most stupidest shit when it comes to the men she dates? And it's just like, lady, do you even see yourself as a woman? Because you are 100% speaking in gay terminology. Like, why are you still calling your man Trey? Like, that's gay shit. Like, come on.
Disrespectful as hell. Disrespectful as hell. Don't ever call me your now. If I am your trade and we just, we having fun, I guess so. I guess you can call me that because we just fucking. But if I am your man, and we're committed actual relationship, oh yeah, disrespect all day. That's one of the things the guys peep very quickly is like, oh, this girl got no respect for men. I ain't messing with her. No, I don't deal with people that just like a woman would never want to be with a man who's clearly a misogynist. He clearly hates women. Why would you choose to be with this person? Just men would never choose to be with somebody who was obviously doesn't respect men. It's super wild. Another thing, why don't people understand these things? Like, I want my Prince Charming on it. Yeah, but you have a complete lack of respect for men in general. I understand there are bad men and the things that have happened to you did happen. I'm not gaslighting people, but if you're actually entering into this relationship and you allegedly respect this man, he is the person that you're committing to. There should be a basic level of respect for him and his gender. I would never say I hate all women, and I would never say women are trash. Like people say, men are trash. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. I go on my rants. I'm gonna shut up.
No, but it's just the truth. It's again, we're saying a lot of stuff we want to leave behind in 2024, going into 2025. In 2025,
yeah, let's leave it.
When you get on these platforms, when you get on these Twitter Spaces, when you get on these YouTube shows, when you get on these Facebook shows, when you go on BGO Live, when the gays and the straight people are asking you to defend what your attraction is or defend how the people are attracted.
I need to get on there.
And you can't just be like, I don't even want to talk about this, or it's too complicated, or it's too deep for me, or something, and just move on. Like, but you trying to explain the shit, and then it don't make sense. It's just hurting the community in worse ways ever.
Yeah, but that's the men's fault as well for not being in those spaces. I mean, if we're not there to bring clarity and education.
But not in those spaces, because if it's a LGBT, like a gay space, where it's like the community, the queer community. I know y'all are a part of the queer community, but I'm just saying, the girls are having conversations with the gays, and the gays is like, what do y'all think about the men who date y'all? Because we think they gay. And then the girls be like, yeah, bro, they gay too, because they like to suck dick and all this other good shit. And they like to suck dick, and they like let the girls top them, and they gay. You are now creating so much confusion, dysphoria, disrespect to the men and the relationships of trans women and trans men, because why would you want to even put that out there that men are gay for liking trans women? When they view you as a woman, regardless of whatever sexual acts that y'all do. Or is it because you don't even do yourself as a woman? So when the man puts his dick in your mouth, you're like, yeah, I'm a man, and he put his man dick in his mouth. Yeah, I knew he wasn't really straight. You don't really see yourself as a woman. That has more to do with you than it has to do with anything else.
I mean, that's true. I just think one of the things we need to leave behind. One of the things I would love to see the trans community leave behind in 2025 is the amount of credibility and status that they give to the Bush Queens in their own conversations. Basically, you're not a part of this, gay man. This is between the men that like trans women and trans women. You're not a part of this. So go sit over there and be silent and talk about some shit that you actually involved in. Because when you have people who aren't even a part of the equation come in, all I've seen from my personal experience, I've only seen them sow chaos. And misery loves company. And it's just like I've seen BQs come in and ruin relationships because they don't want that girl to be with him. They don't want to be left. They feel like they're gonna be left behind. And no, stay over here with us, girl, because those men ain't shit. Them men ain't whatever. And it's just like you're letting these BQs poison your minds, keep you in a place where you'll never find happiness, the happiness that you say you want. We gotta push the BQs out of these specific kinds of conversations. They have no place in it. There's no reason for them to be in the conversation. Need to leave that in the past. We have to push them out because every single time they're in it, either whether it's them or your cis woman, queer friend, or even a trans woman that is a trans lesbian. Like, if you are not a trans woman that deals with cis men, and if you're not a cis man that deals with trans women, you don't belong in the conversation. What do I look like being in a conversation about man on man? That's not my world. Why do my opinions matter?
I think the reason why it happens, this isn't an excuse, this is just me trying to come up on an answer, is there's so much intertwined between the trans community and the gay community and this whole great LGBTQ community that sometimes I feel like the trans girls feel like the butch queens is their community, not the trans attracted men. Where I feel like we are in a community with the butch queens, but we are in a bigger community with the trans attracted men.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the trans attracted men are my community, not the butch queens. Even though I do realize I am a part of the LGBTQ community, but I'm part of the trans community as a whole more specifically. And I do feel like that community has space for you all.
Well, and I understand, the because a lot of girls find family with BQs, that's their dad. They're for a lot of my friends and exes, they're the protector that they never had was a BQ. Their own biological fathers were not there to protect them, but this gay man saw this young child on the street and said, "Hey, I will protect you." And I understand the role that they play in a lot of women's lives. And usually the dads aren't the ones sowing this discord. It's usually like, their friends, their peers. But it's a lot. It's definitely it's a lot. And yes, Barbie, there will be some intersections in G&T, but relationships, your relationship as a woman with a man is not something that intersects with them too much. You're trying to do something that they've never done, that they will never do, because they are not you. They'll never be in your place. Like, yeah, men are men, and there are some commonalities, and just like there's conversations y'all can have with cis women about men, and like I can have conversations with trans men about women, or even if I have my little stud friends, we could talk about women all day. But there's still parts of the conversation that don't relate to me, and like I'm not a part of that. I'm not a lesbian woman. You're a woman in a relationship with a woman. Your relationship is going to look way different than the relationship that I would have with a woman. And I would never intrude as to believe that I could offer you guidance and tell you how to think in your relationship. And that's not my world.
And let me add to that, Chris. And I feel like trans women need to stop taking their personal experiences with DL men who will fuck you, fuck your butch queen friend, and that's just a part of everyday life for you in that small microcosm bubble that you live in, and open yourself up to greater horizons. There are men who date trans women who do not like butch queens. I understand that you are used to the local trade in Houston, Texas, or Dallas, Texas, or Fort Lauderdale, Florida, or Miami, Florida, or Atlanta, Georgia, who are just nasty and are just pansexual and who are open to catching a nut with anybody who's willing to help them catch a nut at that moment in time. I completely understand that for a lot of the girls, that is their experiences. They have never actually met a true transsexual, a trans attracted man. They met a lot of these pansexual DL trade. I understand that. You just have to also take your own personal experiences out of that equation and come to the reality that there are men who exclusively date trans women, who are actively looking for relationships with trans women. And you just have to admit that you just never met a person like that yet, and look for that type of person.
I mean, they're rare. I understand that they are rare. Men, those kinds of men are in the minority, and to Barbie's point, she said, gay men are men. But the thing is, gay men have no experience, knowledge on how you operate in a heterosexual relationship with a man who has had a full life of heterosexual relationships. This is different ground. They've never been in this ground before. And the challenges and the mindsets that you need to bring to this is something that they truly can't prepare you for. Just like I can't prepare a lesbian woman how to show up as a lesbian woman. Like they have different challenges. Their stuff is different. But with you, with me, and the trans woman, and how we navigate this, and how we show up as a couple, and how this relationship looks, and how we relate with our families, and getting into a lot of that deeper stuff, you know, it's really toxic and harmful to you if your guidance is being taken from somebody who just has no experience in that realm and is really not supportive of you being in that realm. Like, and I'm not saying everybody, I'm not saying every butch queen in the world, you know, wants to stop you from finding your Prince Charming. It's just, you know, I think people need to recognize that certain folks can be detrimental. And it's like, oh yeah, no, these men are gay, they're this, and this. Well, what about that is actually helping you find what you're looking for? What about that is helping you get in the situation you want to be in? And it's just like, it doesn't at all. Doesn't at all. So, you know, I just think that there needs to be a reevaluation of, hey, your BQ friends are your friends. They are your friends. But in terms of like the knowledge that they have to pass on to you and how they can affect you and how you see your man or a man that could be your man, like that's a bridge too far. And I've just seen so many. I've been in a lot of conversations where, you know, I was having a conversation with certain women, and then here come the BQs, and then once they come in, things go way off the rails, and it's just because they just showed up to sow chaos. They're not actually here for bringing people together and everybody being happy and moving on in happiness. And it's just like, it's wild. So that's been my experience. That's why my opinion is that way. I don't have issues with gay men, period. Like I mean, obviously because I work in the community, I have friends and I know different people. So it's not an issue. It's just certain conversations is for certain folks.
I think it's a lot of the gay men, even in my personal life, like a reason why I don't have too many gay friends at this point is because gay men, they're kind of like cisgender women. Like they will respect your trans identity, but they don't believe it in their core that you are a woman. So there is always this you're a woman, but you're not a real woman. You're a girl, but you're not a real girl, so don't do too much. You are a girl, but you can't have this level of happiness. You are a girl, but you can't have this level of success. I don't see it for you like that. And again, for a lot of the butch queens and a lot of the gay black queer community, it does come down to how people see it for you. And it really shouldn't be that way. It should be based on people's actual talents or whatever. But I see this for you. So if I see you as a wife, then I will support you in being a wife. But if I see you as a bad bitch and I want you to be out here fucking niggas so I can hear the stories, I'm going to make sure you out here fucking niggas so I can hear the stories.
All I can say is, you know, I have friends in the community that I love dearly. And if I were to ever hear that they met their demise because of a jealous cis woman who, you know, outed them unexpectedly, told their tea in a club, told their tea whatever, I would have to bring out my Luigi side. I ain't gonna front. My Luigi might come out because, you know, that would be something. And, you know, being in this community, you're gonna lose friends. You know, there will be people that you get close to, that you have connection with, that just, you know, aren't here anymore. But yeah, I just that whole like the danger of certain people keeping certain people around you that don't really validate or really truly believe you are who you are. Okay. Like it's so dangerous, and I'm blessed to not have any of my personal friends die because of that, because we know that is a possible ultimate end with that very dangerous behavior of, you know, sharing somebody's tea out of whack like that. Whew. Sorry.
Just, no, you're good. You're good. You're
you know, I got love.
It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. So we're almost at the 2-hour mark.
Woo, yeah, we've been rapping for a bit.
I know. So, Chris, when are we going to get more Men Like Us podcast episodes? When are we going to bring the podcast back in for the fair?
Hopefully in 2025.
In 2025, we're challenging all the podcasters to come back. We need everybody, even myself. I'm challenging myself to come back. So,
you know, all the men that I know that have done trans attracted content, they're done for sure. They're done for real. And I've seen plenty of men come and go. I'm the only one left standing who's willing to put his face out there, still have these conversations. But the Men Like Us podcast will be back. I have to be honest, I'm in a kind of a weird in-between time in my life right now. I was laid off, so I'm still kind of searching for work, home with family, in between time to save some money. So, you know, live streaming from my parents' house is not something not ideal. It's not something I really want to do. I do have some really great interviews lined up for the next phase of this. I've actually connected with a trans dating coach who has some really great content online. And I'm actually talking to some other like sex intimacy therapists and who else? Oh, and there was another trans content creator I'm collabing with. But yeah, there's going to be some really interesting conversations, really dope conversations coming down the pike that are, you know, you just don't have them. And I will bring some other guys back on eventually. It's just kind of a struggle to herd these men together and you know, actually get people that want to put their face on the internet. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. So yeah. But yeah, that's the plan. But I'll be back on next year after I get this job. I'm very close to getting one right now, but you know, after I get back in my own place to get stable again, then we'll be back on, and I'll be able to have my studio and all that stuff going again. So transparency.
Perfect. And me, I never stop podcasting. I just talk about gymnastics right now because I ain't got no time for y'all LGBTQ people and y'all confusion and y'all getting on my nerves and the damn girls dying every week. Like that was a lot, especially like. I am going to start doing my trans, you know, the community podcast again. I know I have Miss Kelly, the R&B artist. We are going to do a show together. I'm working on another third co-host, and we are trying to come up with a weekly talk show again, like I used to do, but bigger, you know, better topics or whatever. It's just the community, man. Like I get in these spurts where I want to talk about it, but then I get into these long spurts of months where I'm like, oh, so this is what the young girls say now. Okay, I have no opinion whatsoever because would you, Barbie? Okay, I'm gonna contact you. I'm gonna contact you, Barbie. I'm gonna contact you. I'm gonna contact you, and yeah, I'm gonna try to put it up. Because I keep
Barbie's been dropping some gems in the comments.
Always. And the thing is, I used to love Ashley Breed and Fox's Tea Time with the Girls. Man, I grew up on that. I saw so many people that are now like T.S. Madison was on Tea Time with the Girls. Like I see so many people on that show. And yeah, like it is just it's a space that I understand, especially a lot of us who are now in our 40s now or our late 30s. We are so exhausted. We feel like we've been having these same conversations for the last 20 years and nothing is really getting done about it. But if you really look at it, things are changing. It's just slow. It's not in the progress that we may want to see, but it is a slow, steady change that I feel like I'm not trying to say old girls, but older girls who actually lived past the trans death age, who actually have some experience, who actually have some knowledge, we're not talking on things that the way they feel like things should be. They're talking about things how, yeah, bitch, I went through that shit. Let's talk about it. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to get out of the space of woulda, shoulda, coulda, and nah, bitch, this is actually what happened. Like, let's talk about it.
I think that's great. And you know what's crazy is like you are part of the first generation with a pretty solid survival rate.
Yeah.
Like the population of girls over 40, between 40 to 45, is much larger than the people who are, 5-10 years older than them. And it's like y'all are, I'm sorry, the lifespan has grown and so many people have gone different routes and not hiding as well. And it's just like y'all are really going to change the game and be in terms of being elders. I really do think like y'all are going to be the first to transform what it means to be a trans elder.
Correct.
I really do believe that.
And just give me time, because gymnastics season about to start again. So my whole entire focus for 3 months is to be on gymnastics.
Hey, get them sponsorships, make that money.
Exactly. But I just got to get in a space because I feel it's in my heart to do this. It's really in my heart to do it. I just got to get into the space where I'm motivated. Like my energy and my motivation has to match. Like, so just give me a second. I promise y'all though, I will get back to the LGBTQ bloggings and we will talk about the stuff that we used to talk about. I don't know where though. I don't know if Facebook is the place anymore because Facebook, well, this stream hasn't been acting up. But
well, in terms of streaming, YouTube is really should be your number one platform in terms of getting new audience. And I am a practiced digital marketer, so this is like Fortune 100 billionaires pay me for this kind of advice, or have paid me for this kind of advice. But yeah, I mean, for what you're doing, YouTube is definitely the move. But for what you're doing, YouTube is the move. That's your growth platform, and your legacy platform is Facebook, because you have all these Facebook friends and all these people that who will come in. They're used to you talking, so you kind of have to hit it on both of those. Twitter, kind of a loss, but if you're doing it, what you're doing with what you're doing, and
I don't.
It said what?
Twitter is for the young girls, the girls who are maybe into like the adult film industry.
But that's why you need to be there. That's why you need to be there. Who needs to hear from their elders? Them. And then also, it's a lot of girls that you personally know who's on Twitter.
That's true.
And when you go live on Twitter, Twitter's updated their platform. When you go live, it's the Spaces thing. The lives go to the front now, and it's a different color. It's more like, hey, live. So I would say Twitter is a solid backup, especially for the audience that you're trying to reach. Because I can see those girls, like in the same way, T.S. Madison ain't never gonna not go live on Twitter. She's gonna stay with the Twitter because her audience is on Twitter. And that's what I'm saying. Like Twitter, YouTube is your growth account. Twitter is where the community's at. Facebook, you're gonna pull some legacy viewers off of that. You can move people to it. I've seen streamers say, "Hey, okay, we hit the 30-minute mark. The rest of our stream is going to be on YouTube. So jump over to YouTube if you want to see the rest of the show."
Okay.
And they do that as well. And whoever's watching this, you're getting free game right now, because this is what I do. This is what I get paid to do. This is my thing. So, and hopefully I'll be doing this for a large brand within the next month. So,
oh, that's great. That's great.
But yeah.
So everybody, I gave y'all a 2-hour show. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. It's been so long, and I promise y'all, again, hold me accountable. Inbox me like y'all been doing for the last week and tell me to do a damn show, and eventually I will do one. Okay? I love you all. Thank you, friend. Thank you so much. Go follow him at the Men Like Us podcast. It's on everywhere: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. It's always the Men Like Us podcast. You can always find me at Michaela Loves Gymnastics. I haven't figured out a brand or whatever for this LGBT content yet, so you're just gonna have to watch some gymnastics content for right now. So go follow me at Michaela Loves Gymnastics. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody. Bye, Chris. Bye, Barbie. Thank you so much, Barbie and Sabrina. Y'all was excellent. Bye, everybody.